In this video, we're gonna go through some final mount setup, just attaching a few things before we move on to mount balancing. One thing I wanna talk about on this mount is this is a bit of a Frankenstein mount.
Master.
This is kind of the mount that we have at the shop. A lot of the parts that you see might look a little different than yours. Some of the pieces that you see might look a little different. This is a G11T mount, so some of the things like the clutch mechanism are gonna be different than yours, but the basic mechanics, the way we plug things in, what we're gonna do and show on this video are all gonna be the same. If your plan is to go through all of the setup videos at one time and maybe get to imaging or observing, I do wanna point out a couple things that will help you right now. The first thing is for the azimuth adjustment, you wanna make sure that this azimuth setting is gonna be right in the middle. Yours on the G11 and other ones are gonna be in the back, but you're gonna see a little slot with the post in there for where the azimuth is. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust this so that it's gonna be right in the middle. And the goal here, I'm gonna of course tighten this down a little bit. So the goal here is that when we set it up and the front leg is facing due north, we have room on both sides to make the adjustment. What you don't want to find out is that you're on one end of it and that you need a little bit further, and then you have to kind of rotate and move the entire mount. The second thing is you want to have your altitude adjusted to whatever your latitude is. And there's a link in the description. We'll show you, we have a great tool, allows you to type in your address and actually get the specific coordinates, including your latitude and longitude. But I'm going to go ahead and adjust this to be at the 34 degrees latitude that we're at. And it's just gonna help to ease things as we're doing this later on. Doesn't have to be exact, doesn't have to be perfect, because of course in polar alignment we're gonna do all that, but at least gives you a good starting point. Now we're going to attach the counterweight bar. And this is a relatively simple process. It comes with your mount. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna come around this side. We're gonna make sure that our deck clutch is tight. And I'm just gonna insert this in. You kind of want to line up the angle here. Sometimes it's tough if you're kind of a little bit up, a little bit down. But we're gonna screw this in, and it's gonna take a while because this is precision gear here, and we wanna make sure that it's gonna support that counterweight, right? It's gonna be a lot of counterweight. But you'll feel it stop. And then at this point, I'm gonna also take off the stop screw. So the purpose of this is to stop your counterweights that if they are loose, they'll fly down, they're not gonna fly off and hit you in the toes, because that's super painful, believe me, I know. But we're gonna take this and we're gonna set it aside, and later on we'll attach it back when we're finished doing the balancing. Now we're gonna attach the Gemini unit, but before we do this, I wanna show you a couple things that's gonna make your life a lot easier. So the first thing I wanna point out is this is the Gemini unit. Unlike some other systems, this is the actual computer. You don't even need the hand controller to be connected to have this work. We have the RA cable, which is gonna be the short cable. This is gonna go into the RA port, the right ascension motor. And the longer cable is the deck motor cable. And we're gonna plug this into the deck port. So what I wanna show you is these cables go in a very specific way, and you can't really plug them in the wrong way, but knowing where they go in is gonna help. So this is it's a DIN style connector. It's 6 pins, and it's got a little key right here. And this key that you can see here is actually going into the top. I'm gonna line this up with the top of the port. There's really only one way it can go in. You see that the key is actually, I'm gonna show this to you again here. So you can kind of see on the port, there is the hole there for the key. That's the key. It just plugs in just like that. And same thing is true of the deck cable as well. The same cable, they're just different lengths. So here's my key. I'm gonna plug this into the top. So there we go. And this is how we're gonna do it. We're not going to leave it plugged in right now, but there's one other thing I wanna show you, because of course, when it's dark out and you're not sure what's going on, you wanna kind of know which cables are gonna go into which ports. So what I like to use is a little bit of tape. This is colored tape. This is just standard paper tape, but you can really use anything. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to mark these with different colors. So I've got a little yellow tape here. And I'm gonna put this right here. And then I've got a little bit of red tape. And again, the colors are just helpful because you can quickly identify it. The difference in the ports. I'm going to put this here. And then what I like to do, because sometimes if it's pitch black or it's dark, you can't really see the colors. So I'm going to make some marks. They're going to be a little bit different. So for the RA cable, and again, this is just a random mark, so not specifically this one, but maybe I'll do like a little V. And I'll also on this one do a little V here, so it looks like that. So not only can I see which cable goes to which port, but I can also see the direction on the side, right? So I'm not going to unplug this and kind of put it in the opposite direction. I can see right there, it goes right in. And then for the other side, I'm going to do something maybe that's different for sure. So maybe let's do a line, something like that. So that when I am setting this up, and maybe it's the middle of the night, I can take these out and I can see very quickly, this one is going to go into this port and it's going to line up with this V, all right? And then this one has got the other one, going to line it up right there. And that's a great way to do it. It's not going to take much time or effort, and a really nice way to make sure you're plugging in the right cables to the right ports. So now we're going to attach the Gemini unit to your tripod. And you'll see here that we have the ears that are already attached to the tripod. These don't come attached. You need to attach them yourselves, that we showed in an earlier video. And I don't have the cables yet on the Gemini. I do have 2 screws. Yours might look a little different. There's some variation to the screws, but they all kind of work the same way. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put this in here and just find the point where this Gemini is and tighten this up. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. There we go. Tighten it up. Now you'll find, so these are tight. Now you'll find when they're tight, you can still move this a little bit. Generally speaking, there's no right way in terms of the angle here, but I like to keep it at about 45 degrees just so I can see what's going on. And now we're going to attach the cables. So fortunately, I know which cables go where. I've got these nice little color-coded systems. So the first one is I'm going to attach the RA motor to the RA port. So this is the RA axis. Up here is going to be the deck axis. Very, very important, by the way, to attach these correctly. Sometimes people get confused and they attach the wrong motor to the wrong port and it won't track and it won't slew correctly. But these also have little keys in here, and there's the same type of keying system in the motor, so you can't plug it in wrong. I didn't put tape on these, but if you want to do that, that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this, plop it in there, and then for the deck motor, again, we've got this nice little color-coded system. I'm going to bring this around, and I'm going to attach it to the front here. There we go, goes in. And we can also attach the power system. So this is the power adapter. And what I like to do with this, because sometimes I'm always worried about kicking things out by accident, walking by, pulling it out, is I like to run this through the mount here. Just kind of circle it around. So in case I kick it or do something, it's not going to actually pull out the mount. Now I know there's a downside to this, which is then of course you risk moving the tripod, but I would rather that be the case than rip something out of the electronics and possibly destroy this. But that just goes right in here. And then later on we'll power it up and actually go through the process of setting up the Gemini.